just wanted to welcome our next guest. This is Jenna Ramsey. Jenna is has an extensive professional background in customer service, event management at the Ritz-Carlton, and over 5 years of experience in the IT industry, working as director of customer success for a Salesforce directing consulting company. She came to find out her true passion lies in health, wellness, and inspiring others to live their vision for what they truly desire to create in life. She became certified in two formats of yoga, which ignited her passion to lead others in releasing physical and emotional blockages in their body while making it fun. Jenna founded Vibe Maker in November of 2020 and is creating unique events with focus on self-love, awareness, joy, spirituality, connection, health, and wellness. Many events involve a form of yoga as well as music. I love that. Her vision is to raise the vibration of love, joy, and connection through heart-centered consciousness. She is also studying to get her master's in integrative health to become a health and wellness coach. Welcome, Jenna.
Thank you. Thank you, Stephanie. I'm happy to be here.
We are thrilled that you are here. We're thrilled. So let's jump right in and give you the floor. If you could share your story and tell us a little bit about who you are, what inspired you to do what you do, maybe share your vision and what's most important for you to achieve in this life.
Absolutely. Thank you. So I'm so happy to have founded this company. I feel like it was something that I really needed at a stressful time in my life. So part of my story is I grew up in beautiful San Diego. I got, connected with the ocean and nature, and that was like a form for me to connect with myself. And then I moved up to Lake Tahoe at the age of 17 and started to meet a lot of international people, really got connected with people. I realized the connection with people, learning from others and learning from other cultures really just fed my soul. And among that, I just realized there's a common theme across all humanity and cultures. Like, we all want to be seen, loved, and heard. But in order for us to realize that, we need that connection with ourselves. And so I moved. So as you mentioned, I worked at the Ritz-Carlton for over 5 years. So I jumped right into my professional life right after college. And it was an amazing experience. I learned a lot. I grew a lot, though I had no work-life balance. I'd come home at the end of the day, totally exhausted, would choose to have a beer or drink or zone out on the television. I wasn't creating time for that grounding, that connection with myself in order to show up with a better relationship with myself and in my relationships. I was engaged at the time, thought everything, my life was going great. And carrying two cell phones around, it never stopped, and just didn't create that time for myself. And I just eventually couldn't keep up with that life pattern anymore. So I did a huge, redo of my life, quit my job, broke up with my ex-fiance, moved back to San Diego. A tool that's always been very beneficial for me to ground and come home to myself has been yoga. And I absolutely love yoga. And when I came back from doing that, I went deeper. As you mentioned, I did my yoga teacher training. Though what I found is missing in that is the connection with others and the element of joy. You go to a yoga class, you're all grounded, you're blissed out, and then you go home. There's not like that integration piece. Mm-hmm. So I really love the fact that I can. Well, let me back up. So after that, so I did not have time for that self-grounding, right? But it's the people that don't create the time for themselves. Like, I don't have time to meditate. I don't have time to take a bath. I don't have time to do that. Those are the people that need it the most, because in order to ground down, you're going to better be able to deal with all of your other life commitments and the stress happening in your life. I was missing that source for myself and that connection. So my intention of creating Vibe Maker and creating this business, not only to use my professional background in customer service and event management, but to be able to bring all of these elements together, to encourage others to ground, to learn, to heal. So many events, they involve like the aspect of learning and growing and grounding within yourself, but then the joy aspect of bringing in music, bringing in dancing, bringing like having extra time to connect with the other people that are at the events. So that's what I really love. To be able to bring everyone together, and through that connection with ourselves, we're better able to show up in our lives and better manage all of our other commitments and the stress that's happening in our life. So that is just I'm so passionate about it. Like, I feel like what I've created is what I was seeking, at those times in my life. So yeah, the short summary. Or sort of.
No, I love it. I love listening, and our audience loves to listen and to hear. So thank you for sharing. So something else. If you could share maybe one of your biggest challenges and how you were able to overcome them to be successful and to achieve success.
I would say my biggest challenge is self-doubt, feeling like that people wouldn't want to come to the events. Like, I feel like these types of things where you spend money for yourself, people put it to the side. It's always like, nope, I have to do this. I have to take care of all of things, which is totally accurate and true. Mm-hmm. But it's just like that element of like, no, you are worthy. You deserve to spend $30 to go to a 3-hour event, to have yoga and create joy, so you can then manifest and have abundance in the rest of your life to create everything that you desire. So I think that's the biggest hurdle for me, is just knowing my self-worth and knowing that I am an individual and I have something to offer to people to enhance their lives and their joy, so they can then sprinkle out and affect other people that are in their lives, and then it's like a ripple effect.
Yeah.
So if I hear right, and considering that we are all talking about how to really build wealth by optimizing health, what I heard, Jenna, is that it all starts with self-discovery, right? When you were sharing your experiences, and then how you discovered yoga and how that was definitely nourishing for you, but then there was still a missing element. And then you stepped it up by seeing, okay, then it became self-trust, like trusting yourself in the process and keep going. And then ultimately what you're speaking now is self-worth.
Yes.
It's so beautiful, because ultimately that is the journey to wealth, right? Ultimately, and to be able to really understand that this is what someone needs, and that someone is you, who need to just love and care and compassion. I think that's a connection that I'm making right now from hearing you speak, and why you created your business in the first place, is that piece of self-discovery, self-trust, and then ultimately self-care. And it's definitely in line with what we are trying to share with the audience here, is ultimately what I've been preaching to in my company as well, that you cannot serve from an empty cup. And the message is loud and clear that unless you're really able to really love yourself, trust yourself, and really, think that you're capable, you're not going to be able to create that space for other people to do the work that they need to do. So I love it. It's like I'm seeing the dots, and yep, self-discovery, self-trust, and self-care.
Yeah.
Ultimately,
absolutely.
That's awesome.
It starts with us, and it filters out from there.
Absolutely.
Amazing.
So I know that with, what you're doing and what you've done for yourself, you talk a lot about, transforming yourself and transforming other lives. Can you tell us a little bit more about, what you plan to do with your company for transformation, for individuals, for groups, for large communities, and tell us, how the audience can find you, how can we connect to you?
Absolutely. So I'm creating local events in San Diego, and I'm also planning an event upcoming, a retreat, a wellness surf retreat in Nicaragua in January. You can go to my website, vibe-maker.com, and you can see the offerings tab, upcoming events. And what was the first part of your question? I wanted to answer that.
Oh, I wanted to hear you talk about, how you've transformed and how you plan to help be transformative in people's lives and in groups'
Okay.
lives and
Perfect.
yeah.
So transformation is a journey, right? Like we fall down, we get back up, we learn, we reflect, we start over again. Like transformation is a never ending process. You're always going to transform. You're going to change maybe what you want, and how you're going to get deep in that. So my intention is to hold space for individuals to come to this space in order for them to transform whatever that means for them. Maybe they're just needing that connection piece with themselves. Maybe they really just wanted to dance and release,
Mm-hmm.
So it's always a continued journey, and my intention is just to create these experiences for people to do that in a safe place, in a joyful place.
That's wonderful. I love that. I love that. Is there anything you wanted to jump in and say, Dee Dee?
Yeah, no, I love it. You guys keep going. And I think when it comes to transformation, there's so much to be said about transformation. So what would you say if a client were to come work with you and host an event? And it will be definitely very different than if they were hosting the event by themselves. So what is your process in really helping them do that and create the atmosphere or the environment for the particular event? And what does that look like? Because I think the audience might be curious to, they might thought, like, I'm speaking for myself, like I thought about hosting a retreat in the past and, such like that. So what does that look like to engage with you? And what makes it different, what makes Jenna different and Vibe Maker different than any other event planning company?
Yeah.
So there's several different things that I'm doing with Vibe Maker. I'm creating these public events where I'm finding the talent, I'm creating everything. Otherwise, I love the also the aspect of connecting with people if they wanted to plan a retreat and maybe they just don't have time, they don't have the resources or maybe the knowledge or the passion to maybe plan their trip. So I would love to connect people with one-on-one, face-to-face, either in person if they're local or just like we are right now in Zoom, and really understand their vision. What is their vision for the event? What are they looking to achieve? What is the overall energy? What do they want to accomplish? Where do they want to go? What is their budget? So it's really just connecting to see exactly what they're looking for and then catering a custom experience or retreat or vacation based on what they're looking for. So it's kind of like going a little bit deeper rather than like, okay, where do you want to go? Like, what's your budget? Okay, here's your options. Like, I want to understand like what's in here. Like, what are you really craving? What do you want? So, and then just being able to connect and really like, one of my superpowers is compassion and really kind of seeing beyond, what the person might be telling me and kind of encouraging them to go deeper to see like, what is it that is going to be really important to them to make a magical experience that is long lasting in your heart and for yourself, to grow and whoever's a part of it, just to feel really inspired. So really just kind of understanding the root.
Sure.
I love how you're so lit up saying it. Like you just knew like what
I care so much. Like I love people and it's just so important. And people, I'm speaking generally, but people can, they just want to have fun. I'm like, so I love the fun aspect, but where's the growth aspect? Where's the transformation? Where's there the growth opportunity? So I love to wrap it all into one and create a learning experience, but also very joyful.
Yeah. So I'm curious because, right, like what you do is so amazing, so much fun. I can feel like the joy coming out of your pores. And, and I could also see that that it takes that level of energy, that level of passion and commitment, right? So on the flip side, it's going to take just as much to recover. So I'm going to ask you, like, what do you do? What does Jenna Ramsey do to fill her cup? Right, because you're in that spot where you're taking care of everybody, you're creating the environment to cultivate transformation and such. So what do you do when it comes to self-care and self-trust, and how do you continue to do this work?
Absolutely. Well, just before this interview started, I was outside doing some yoga. So, yoga is an amazing tool for me. I love to be outside. I love to be in nature. Those are my main tools that I love. Also, just sometimes if I'm feeling a bit anxious or I have a lot on my mind, I like to journal to get things out, to reflect. Sometimes I might even like write something down, like some habits I want to release, and I'll maybe just like burn it, into the wind. I'll create a little sacred ceremony for myself. I have sage, Palo Santo. It doesn't have to be perfect. Self-care doesn't have to be perfect. You just have to do it. Like some people are like, oh, I don't know how to do yoga. Like you just get on the floor or wherever is most comfortable for you and listen to your body, just move around and release. So that is like, it doesn't have to be hard. It can be simple, and it could be 5 minutes a day. Another thing that I really love is water. Water is an amazing element, very cleansing. Like love to jump in the ocean if you can. You mean
Yes.
taking a hot bath with, Epsom salt and candles, and just finding out what works for you. What do you have time for? Self-care doesn't have to look the same every day. You don't have to take the same amount of time every day. Like, oh my gosh, I don't have time for this. You can literally sometimes I'll just stare in the mirror and be like, I love that I love other people. I love that I care about other people. For example, like any kind of what makes sense for you in that day, however short of time it is. And also breathing, meditation, cleansing your mind. I still struggle with meditation. It's hard for me to move around. So I've noticed, for me personally, doing a little bit of stretching or even like dancing to one of my favorite songs and then maybe trying to sit down is going to allow me to like be a little bit more balanced and calm, to be able to connect with myself and release. So music is a huge element for me. And if I'm having a stressful day with work, or I'm like feeling a little overwhelmed, like what's taking 5 minutes to dance or take my dog for a walk and then come back, reground, and refocus. So it's just your breath away from starting over.
Yeah. Oh, I love that. I love that. It's so important to be joyful and joyous, and I so totally agree with just the movement piece. Even if you're just sitting in your chair, I just did it as you were talking, like,
Yeah, little neck stretch.
Yeah.
Full
like
rolling.
even
Yeah, it helps. It makes all the difference in the world.
I would even when I was, high stress in my last IT job, which I've released, thank goodness, so I can focus on all the other, things that I'm really passionate about. I would even set up reminders on my calendar. Breathe, drink water, go outside. If you're so busy, you literally just like, because I would find myself like at my computer, I could feel my stomach tensing, and then I'd have that pop-up reminder, and even if it's just like 3 breaths, and you come back and you can refocus. So it could be super small, and it could take longer days, maybe a consistent day where you take at least an hour for yourself. Depends on your schedule, what works for you. It doesn't have to look the same.
Right. It's customizable.
Yeah, I love what you're saying, is because, I talk to my clients about this all the time, where they have a particular expectation, for example, working out 5 times a week, and they miss that first day of the week and they threw the whole plan out the window. That mentality is like all or nothing mentality, is so damaging. And what I'm hearing from you is you just reset. Reset, you can recommit. Like, who cares if it's 30 minutes that you missed the other day? Today you can take 3 breaths.
Yeah.
right? And
Exactly.
it's like it's that is just like a fascinating, short, simple and sweet kind of reminder that we all need.
Yeah.
Ultimately, yeah, I'm very diligent with my workouts, and at the same time, like I don't have a breathe reminder, I want to do that. And again, I feel like I meditate, and I like, even I'm saying this is when I say I'm going to meditate, it has to be 15 minutes, but it doesn't. Like you just said to yourself, it's like, it doesn't have to be 15 minutes. It could be 3 breaths.
Yeah.
So that is so important. And in today's schedule, I know for myself and most of my business colleagues and entrepreneurs and clients and mompreneurs, yeah, like life gets really busy. I think it's ultimately being able to just cater to yourself in a way that works for you with your schedule. I think is what I'm hearing. So this is so valuable. I love it.
Absolutely. And it's also like when you plan out, you might plan out your 5 hours of self-care. And when you miss that first one, like, don't get off track. Don't beat yourself up. Just start over, reconstruct, or just do it in that moment. Okay. And then how can I shift my calendar for myself? Or like, just, what are you spending your time on? It's like, oh, I don't have time. Like, no, I didn't create time for this. And you are the most important person to create time for. If you need to put your self-care moment in your calendar, do it. We're the masters of our calendar and of our life, and what we choose to do with any free moment, rather than zoning out on TV. I mean, of course you're going to do that once in a while, but make sure to create time for yourself. It's really important, however long it is.
That's
Yeah.
great. So my last question for you is definitely, how do you connect with optimizing your health with building your wealth?
Ooh, say it one more time.
How do you connect with optimizing your health so that you
Mhm.
can build your wealth?
Yes. So if I feel like I have an empty cup and I'm stressed out, like, how am I going to show up in the rest of the other commitments happening in my life? The more that I am focused and centered and balanced and connected, then that is going to allow me to achieve so much more, to have so much more joy. It's going to help me connect with people, bring new clients, and source more events, more opportunity to work with different people. If I had a call with someone and I had an empty cup, like I wasn't taking care of myself, like they wouldn't be engaged. They're like, why would I want this person to do this for me if they're not doing it for themselves? So in order for me, it starts with me connection, and then building from there and being able to source a lot more abundance in my relationships and whatever I'm creating, that because then source income coming to me. Like, the more I'm just myself and joyful, people just want to be around me, they want to work with me. So that in turn increases my wealth. And wealth can be, it's an open term. Like for me, it's like they're your self-worth. But yes, of course money is good. I want to be able to support myself, but it comes in so many forms.
Yeah, no, I love that. And I think I was just waiting for you to really say that, because again, just like that all or nothing mentality, it's like when we hear wealth, we think money in the bank, right? When ultimately my intention for putting out this show is just really allowing people to really see their own definition of wealth. Wealth could be monetary, money in the bank, but honestly, for me in this season of my life, is wealth is ultimately time with my family, like sacred time with myself, and being able to be of contribution into the world. So that's wealth. Like I know I don't mean to be so morbid, but sometimes I read research for the elderly when they're taking their last breath, like what is their like most biggest like regrets? And one of them is that they didn't spend time with their loved ones. They worked too much, things
Yeah.
like that.
Mhm.
And to me, that's not wealthy, like if that is not a living a wealthy life, like abundance looks so different for everyone. And I love that you say that. And I hope the audience, you are listening in and really understanding that the whole purpose of what we're really sharing with you is ultimately coming down to you taking care of yourself, so then you can then do whatever you need to do, create the wealth, create the money and opportunities and contributions and all of the things. So it's so important. And I love that you were able to share more about your own practice of self-care and self-discovery, and they're really allowing people to really see the realness of how it doesn't have to look a certain way, how it doesn't have to be meditation on top of the mountains, or doing, I don't know, aerial yoga where you're flying like with a silk scarf wrapped around you, and none of that. So thank you so much for all that you have shared so far. Any parting remarks, any last advice for our audience in terms of if they're really looking to discover who they are and really embark on this journey of self-care? What would you share, and what would that, like, where would they start?
Well, I would start with follow your bliss. Where do you feel the most joyful? Where do you feel the most connected? And follow that. Is that yoga? Is that meditation? Is that dancing? Is that connecting with someone else to lead you to your self-care? So just finding the resources that work for you. And of course, if it comes in the form of an event, I'm here for you. I'd love to connect with you. And anyways, just if you wanted to connect about what your journey is for self-care, what you're looking for, I'm happy to provide some feedback, maybe some guidance, some tools that might work for you. But it's going to look different for everyone. So it's really just following your bliss, and where do you feel the most content? Where do you feel the most peace? And follow that.
Awesome. Well, Jenna, I can tell you, I can't wait to come to one of your events. So I'll be subscribing pretty soon. I'll be visiting your website as soon as we get off this interview.
Okay. So Jenna, that said, what is your website information, and how can the audience find you?
Absolutely. So the website is www.vibe, VIBE maker.com. And you'll also see there's lots of different links in there to be able to book a call with me. So use any of those links, and then we can connect and go further and see what your vision is and what you're looking to create.
Awesome.
All right. Stephanie, do you have anything else? But other than that, Jenna, thank you so much for your time. Thank you for giving up your career in IT to follow your dream, your passion, and your commitment in making a difference in others' lives. I know what transformation means to you, as you have shared, and that thank you for being a part of that process for others around you. Thank you.
My pleasure. And also, if you're a social media person, you can follow Vibe Maker Events. It's Vibe Maker, one word, _ events. And you can stay up to date with, some self-love sprinkles in, or upcoming events, or anything that I'm creating. So that's another way to stay in touch.
And what platform is that? Is that Instagram?
Instagram,
Okay.
Vibe Maker _ events. And if you go to the website, there's just an easy link there. So whatever works for you, whatever method that you prefer.
All right. Awesome. Thank you. I'm so excited.
Thank you, ladies.
Yeah, absolutely.
Have a fantastic rest of your day, and I will talk to you soon. See you.
Thank you. Bye.